With every trailer that dropped for Silent Hill 2 Remake, I lost more and more confidence in this game having any chance at being good. Most people were already counting Bloober Team out. They had less faith in Bloober Team than they do in Ubisoft making a good open world title. But against all the odds, like an anime protagonist, they didn't give up, and they actually delivered a good game. Much to my surprise and the surprise of many others who played it, it's actually kind of a banger. It kind of slaps. As Darman has always taught us, you can't judge a book by its cover. I do think the game is worth buying if you're a fan of games in this genre. I don't think this is going to be for everyone. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and I think the main reason for that is the combat's okay, but it's not great. Like, it's serviceable, but it's not like that was my favorite part of playing this, and it's not the focal point of Silent Hill 2. If you've played the original, you'll know that the combat in that game was basically non-existent. You could just run by every enemy, just fucking plug your ears, close your eyes, and just sprint past them. There wasn't much of a threat to the enemies. It has been significantly improved in the remake. Now the enemies are actually threatening. They take a lot of hits. You can't run by them as easily, and there's a lot more of them. But I just don't think the combat is all that satisfying. It works, for sure, but if you're someone who prefers action-oriented games, or if you're used to something like Resident Evil 2 Remake or Resident Evil 4 Remake, where the combat and the gameplay was a lot tighter and felt a lot more fun, you might be disappointed here. But the beauty of Silent Hill 2 is in its world and its story. It's so good. It was never going to be a hog wild, titties out, fucking guns blazing, action oriented game. It has always been about its story. That is the bread and butter of Silent Hill. It's a great narrative, great characters, and a super eerie world that it presents you with. So if you're someone that can get immersed in a game, I definitely think this is a must play. It's been many, many moons since I played the original Silent Hill 2, and for its time, that game broke new ground for the genre. That story was something that had people talking about it for years, and even to this day, people still talk about how good that story was and how not many things even match the vibe that Silent Hill 2 got across. And I've seen some people criticize this game during streams, saying that it doesn't capture that vibe. I disagree. I actually think the remake does a really good job of getting super close to that really uncanny, eerie feeling that the original presented, while still maintaining, good voice acting performances. If you go back and listen to the voice acting in the original Silent Hill 2, there are moments that sound like House of the Dead. Friends, you've come. Oh my God. Maria, why would you do this? But during the time, that actually contributed to that really weird, creepy feel of Silent Hill. This game has moments like that, but it does feel more emotional, in my opinion. Again, it's been many years since I actually played Silent Hill 2, but I just do feel like Silent Hill 2 Remake did a really good job of capturing that similar vibe and that similar magic. The game looks amazing, the visuals, the presentation are top-notch, and the music, boner jams out the wazoo, but the sound design, like the actual audio in this game, is extremely impressive. I play everything with one earbud. You all know that. So I'm not even getting the full experience, but even I, fucking nerfed here for sound, still had moments where I'd hear things in the game that were unsettling, and I wasn't sure if it was in real life or if I had just heard one of those fucking giant feet monsters tucking itself away in a corner or something. It was really cool how well this game used audio in its delivery of this atmosphere. I do want to talk about the gameplay one more time, though. I really appreciate that they made the enemies more of an actual obstacle in this game as opposed to fucking Weenie Hut Jr. in the original. I just wish the gameplay, fighting them, was a bit more elevated, because it became such a tedious chore towards the second half of the game, just fighting the same 4 enemies over and over and over again. There's only 4 enemy types in this game, excluding bosses, and you always just fight them the same way. You can either shoot them twice in the kneecap and then hit them with the pipe, or you can just hit them with the pipe 3 times, dodge their follow-up, pipe them 3 more times, maybe give them a couple back shots, and you're done. That's how you just keep rinsing, repeating enemies, and it just doesn't change. It was enjoyable in the beginning because it felt fresh, because in the original, you didn't really have to do that. But it just never evolves, just constantly banging your head against the wall, fighting the same enemies over and over again, like they're casting a shadow clone jutsu, so you end up fighting three nurses in a hallway and you just keep dodging left and right, and then sometimes you have to dodge some puke. It's, I don't know. The combat I just wish had a little bit more put into it. I know it's not like the focus of the game or anything, but since they put so many more enemies in there and beefed them up, I wish they had beefed up the combat as well. Now, of course, like with everything in this game, the presentation is extraordinary. So the four enemies that you encounter so often are really cool looking. Like, they are beautiful creature designs. Like, the monsters still look great. I think they look better here than they did in the original. I do think they crushed it there. I do also think that the boss fights are much better here. I remember the boss fights not being very enjoyable in the original. Here, they're hype. Getting chased by Pyramid Head who's trying to take your lunch money, then actually having a good boss encounter attached with it, that felt great. It's just the actual just fighting of normal enemies just really lost its luster. I wish there was just more to it. You get two new weapons throughout the course of the game, so you have a couple weapon options, but it doesn't really change the way you approach anything. Just helps with damage a little bit. So it's very serviceable. Like, it's not bad. I want to make that clear. I don't think the gameplay is bad by any means. I just would have liked more since they did have an emphasis on so many enemies. But that's really like the main complaint I have, other than, of course, something I talked about on stream quite a bit. Some of these puzzles just super suck ass. Like, I'm talking turbo cheeks. There are some good puzzles and creative ones, but a lot of them feel really lazy, where what you're doing is you're running around a building. I think the hospital was by far the worst offender of this, where you'd go from, 20 different rooms, 14 of which had nothing in there, and then the other 6 are all like keypads. And in order to get the combination of the keypad, you had to go to a different floor and go through another set of like 10 rooms, 6 of which have nothing, and then the other 4 have like a code that you'd go use on a keypad. You open that door, it would give you a code to open the other keypad. So it's basically just playing fetch. Like, you were doing fetch quests in World of Warcraft, where you had to go collect the keypad number over here, go over there and use it, and it was just so many of those that, those aren't very fun. And apparently, according to chat, that's how it was in the original as well. I don't remember that. It's been many years, like I mentioned, but still, like, maybe we just have the amount of go collect code puzzles and instead focus more on, like, the really fun ones, like moving the head cube and shit. I don't know. I wasn't too big of a fan of that. But aside from those two complaints that I mentioned here, there's just not much I disliked about this game. I thought it did a great job. I thought its presentation was spectacular. I had a lot of fun reliving the story because I forgot so much of it. It really is such a good story. And the ending, still a fucking masterpiece. So, overall, I think Silent Hill is worth buying. It's also a chunkier game than the original. It took me about 12 and a half hours to get just one ending, and there's quite a few, including 2 new endings to the remake. I did go back and watch all of the other endings, except for like 2 of them that I know stayed the same or close to it. So I did get to see what they added there, and I think they've done a really good job, honestly. I thought this game was going to be trash, and it was far from it. So, yeah, Silent Hill 2 Remake put a smile on my face. That's about it. See ya.